Hey, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I can't believe it is Friday again.
Again.
The week absolutely blew by for me. What about for you?
Yes, it did.
The same?
I just noticed my hair was like sticking straight up.
I would give anything to live in your world, Miss B. I would literally give anything to live in your world.
I had to look and see what I look like real quick.
Yeah. So our week was a little bit of homesteading. I had a lot of work stuff I did, normal work stuff. You did a lot of garden stuff, didn't you?
I was outside a lot, yeah.
I got a lot of pictures for you, the stuff that you sent me.
Some of them, all of them.
Whichever ones you sent
I don't
me.
know some of them don't come through, and then...
Yeah. Well, you can kind of ad lib, I guess, as you get there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm the one that took the pictures, so I know it's...
I
know what it is.
You have some sort of idea of what it is?
I hope so.
All right. Let's get some hellos in. I'm Carrie Davis. Welcome in. Let's see here. Al, Joe, and Barbara, who said, hello, Tag and B. This is Al, Joe, and Barbara. We want to thank you and all your prayer warriors for all the prayers for our family. Barbara had very successful brain cancer surgery. Well, congratulations. Nothing but bright days ahead, right?
Our thoughts and prayers are going to be with you.
Yep. Gratitude to Grace is in the house. Good to see you. My oldest friend, Dan Redding, is in the house tonight. Dan, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. He says tomorrow his plan is to go find some gold. Well, I wish you nothing but monstrous success.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope you just load up with tons of gold, and then you can come by a homestead in Kansas and we'll hang out. That'd be a great idea. Let's see here. No lives complete.
Without a pack rat.
That's a fact. Terminator's in the house. Good to see you. Jane Marie, welcome in. Greatest name on the internet.
Half of a loft club
is in the house, and Kent starts us off, as he has recently, with Evening Tag and being fellow freedom fighters. Welcome to another evening of a regular scheduled programming information get together. Let's see here. Kent and Paula are in the house. Let's see here. Kent and Paula said this week's live YouTube stream discussion on community with California's Fair Oaks participants was spectacular. Yeah, that was a kind of a little bit of a last minute thing, and but it was good. It was good. I was glad to do it. I like any opportunity to talk about community because it's such a dynamic thing, and it's so hard, in so many fronts, but so rewarding on so many other fronts. Lisa, welcome in. Dana Green, hello. Sharpshooter, good to see you. There's the silver lining. How are you? Good to see you. Let's see here. Yeah, Dan says, I am well, thanks. Me sounds like a plan. Yep. Got all those prayer warriors out there hoping Dan strikes a lot of gold so he can buy a homestead in Kansas. That'd be great. Suzanne Fritz, good to see you. Rhonda Benefield, welcome in. Squatchy, what's up, buddy? The Hippocrates Gardens in the house. The instigator himself says, when life hands you lemons, at least you won't get scurvy. This is true. American Roots Farm is here. Good to see you. Jules, welcome in. Lazy Loper, I hope you are taking care of Squatchy. I think I am caught up, at least for now. What you got on your list tonight?
Well, we're safe from the storms last night. Oh, that was a crazy...
I got a bunch of slides on that.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That was crazy.
Well, it wasn't crazy for us.
Well, I thought it was crazy.
Well, it's because you were
there watching it all, like just getting ready, and then it's like wait.
Yeah, my beautiful bride, and I've talked about this in this live before, is one of the toughest chicken shits I've ever met. And you are so incredibly tough in so many ways, and you are an absolute chicken shit in so many other ways.
I just don't, if I can't control it, I don't want to.
No, the slightest whiff of smoke,
and then in the dark,
the tiniest bit of storm, and it's on, right?
I just don't like them.
Terminator says the snow is finally gone, and now I can prep my garden. Yeah, congratulations. And I'm curious how all of your permitting and all of your craziness up there in Canada is going. Canada is turning into a kind of a, I don't even know what to call it, an alien country of some kind. But anyway, I'd be interested to know that.
I'm getting my garden ready too.
You are. You and a lot of the troops. You guys have spent a lot of time up there.
Yeah, we have been breaking up beds, ones that have been covered by the plastic. I took plastic from the lumber and wadded them up and stuck them in the shipping container. And then when the landscaping fabric got melted in the shipping container from the fire that went through there, I was like, oh, I'll just use these other things that were on the other shipping container. And then what it did was just kind of like suffocated that bed. So we were in there breaking it up, putting stuff in there, using the broad fork that you made, getting just
that's a bad
breaking
bad
it up,
mama
getting
jump
it down
broad
in
fork,
there.
huh?
I went up and got Pippin's poo. she had some poo set aside for
Pippin
me.
poo.
Yeah, and I went up there and grabbed it. She gave me a tour of her place and then drove it home and spread it on the three beds. One of them's like 60 feet long. Actually, I think 2 of them are pretty close to that, and then the other one's like half that. That's a lot of poop. That's a lot of amending.
Welcome in, Grateful Hearts Ranch.
We were talking to, not we, Jess was talking to Pat from the Soil Saviors.
Pat Miletich.
Yeah. We're talking about that. Maybe, I don't know. I got to do something so the rabbit poop is on 2 of the beds. One bed I put a couple of things on there, and then we ended up using that biodegradable paper. We put that down, and then we stuck the brassicas in there and then covered it with hay. So we got 1 bed planted already with stuff other than potatoes.
Yeah, Terminator says up there in Canada they're fine. Is that how you read that too?
Yeah, they're fine.
So yeah, Silver Lining says that broad fork is no joke. Yeah, I made her a broad fork out of leaf springs and steel pipe. So if you ever break it,
no, we had Jess was using it, MMR was using it. She's like, because it's so heavy, and then you just stand in it. You just kind of stand in it and move it back and forth.
It kind of does the work for you.
Buries itself, and then you just bend it down and then drag it to the next.
Yeah, Jules says that she has 8 containers planted, have 4 baby tomatoes, several little lettuce leaves, and more carrot leaves than I remember planting. Yeah, carrot seeds are small. It's not surprising that you miss a few of them along the way.
Yeah, that's true. Congratulations, already having your stuff planted, though.
Yeah, you've got a lot planted. You got a lot more to plant.
In the yard.
Yeah, a lot of bee stuff still in the greenhouse.
Yeah, until May.
Yeah, but it's growing well.
I don't want to put out any delicate stuff until it's beyond
safe.
Yes. Well, we've been working so hard at getting these plants going, and we don't have to buy anything that.
American Root says that's the best broad fork I've ever used.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get Tag in a shop with leaf springs and steel pipe. And a wife that says I need a broad fork.
Yeah. She's like, where did you get this? And I'm like, Tag made it. Has my name on it.
I welded a B on the side of it.
I think it says BEE.
Does it?
Uh-huh. Okay. And then you painted that in red.
Okay. It's been a while. You've had that thing for a few years, so.
Yes. Well, yeah, you made that at the other house.
Tag, we've had a number of floor hopping from conservative to liberal. They're all being paid behind the scenes. Yeah, that's pretty consistent, I think, across the world. Hey, Nitos, welcome in. How's my off-grid partners? Anyway, what else you got?
The first thing on my list was getting garden ready, so thank you, Terminator. Yeah, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it, and then trying to map everything out. So Jess made me maps, actual paper maps of the garden, so that I could use a pencil and put things in there, erase it and kind of squeeze things in there as I'm adding things. So I'm getting ready to fill that in. I got to milk the goat today.
Okay, good.
I got a whole fluid ounce. Yeah. Well, she was right at the back door, and I couldn't keep her from trying to walk away from me. Oh. And I only had 2 hands, so I was like trying to hold her, and then trying to hold the bottle, and then trying to milk. She just has 1 teat that is so overly full.
Like the baby's only nursing on one side?
Yeah. So you know how the wood crates are back there? I actually tried to use my body and pin her up against the wood crate and hold the bottle with the one hand and then try to milk with the other, using my body to hold her up against there. It didn't work very well. And I just couldn't get it. Her teat is so tiny. Misha just got up in there and got a whole 12 ounces in, like, I'm not even kidding, less than a minute. And I'm like, how are you doing that? And she gets up and she's like this. And I'm like, I can't get my hand on it. This teat is like the size of my pinky nail. Mm-hmm. I cannot do it. So I'm going. I did. I got a whole fluid out. But I think that if I got a head stanchion and put her in it, that would help. Or a way to, lock her in so her body doesn't move.
Hey, Freesteader, welcome in. You joined at the perfect time as B is demonstrating how crazy she is.
It's like milking a cat.
Hey, J-Dog. How are you? Good to see you. Yep, Terminator says, but you know me, I say what I want, and they are not going to shut me up. I just say it in riddles. Yeah, you got to do some of that, don't you?
Yeah, so my whole theory with the milking the goat, I need 4 ounces for a batch of soap. And I got 1 ounce today.
Looked like you got 3 days worth of work in front of you. Or you know what? Just have Misha come over and she'll be done in 35 seconds.
If you can come over and help me, I know you can get it done.
I've milked plenty of goats in my life.
That's what I'm saying. So Moo is also getting ready to, I think Moo is going to calf next. Mm-hmm. What were you doing?
Nothing.
And then watch it, buddy.
Moo's gonna calf next. That's where you were at.
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for. Why don't you just say it?
Good.
And then we can milk her also with your help. Or just get the milker out and use that.
Yeah, that's what you have a milker for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine using that milker for one goat though. That would be insane. There was something I was going to say about Moo.
Yeah. Do you think Moo's going to have her baby first?
I thought so.
But you don't know. Right?
Oh, that's what it was. So I talked to, okay. So I thought that I was going to separate the last year's babies from their moms, let them dry up, and then put them back together. But I talked to Louise because I was out there and I tried to extract some milk from Lady. And I did, like, whoop, there it was. And I was like, oh no, she's not drying up at all. So I called Louise and I'm like, hey, how long do I have to separate them before I can put them back together? And she goes, you should wait until about when the new baby is about 2 weeks old, then you can put them all back together.
Oh.
And I was like, I thought that I was going to dry her up and then put them all back together before the babies were born. And she goes, no, she's not going to dry up because she's pregnant.
Oh.
And I was like, I thought that would dry her up. And she goes, no, but she'll make the colostrum and then the new baby will get it. So I don't know what I'm doing. It's a whole new thing for me.
Conserve Friend says we had a unusual late spring, early summer temps for about a month. Last week we got 2 nights of freezes after everyone was eager to plant. They got burned. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always worry about that for the fruit trees because they bloom.
Yeah.
And then, you get a freeze and that's kind of all bad. But welcome in, Conserve Friends. Permatopia Farms, Mandy, welcome in as well. Terminator says she's getting goats. Yeah, they're trouble.
Is baby goats for sale?
Yep.
Yeah, I like the goats. They come right up to the backyard and they're just eating all the stuff that I don't want to mow. Mm. And it would help if they kind of like went around the fence edges and the rock edges, but they go right into the middle of the field. I'm like, I could mow that, guys.
You need to have a production meeting.
Focus on the edges.
You need to have a production meeting.
Maybe I need to plant something that they like around the edges so that they can get around the edges.
Conserve Friends says local wineries lost this year's crop. Ugh.
Oh.
And it was already hitting, the stuff going on in the world hitting agriculture hard anyway. And then you get that. Hope they didn't go buy a whole bunch of fertilizer right before at record high prices.
Yikes. It's a mowing season now.
Mm-hmm. You were out mowing on your tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, her tractor's 2 years old and it's up to what?
70 miles.
70 hours?
70 hours. Miles. 70 hours, yeah. And we have, like, in my opinion, done a lot of work to it. Like new batteries, new air conditioning condensers.
Twice.
Just a lot of maintenance in 70 hours.
Except here's the thing. So the compressor was on them because it went out right away as soon as we got it. And then they put a new one in and it went out right away. And then they put a third one in and it's been fine. The battery blowing was weird. We had one of my buddies was driving it and left the key on on the ACC position, and somehow it drained the battery and fried it, and there was nothing left.
It fried the fuse,
it blew a big fuse. Yeah, it's really weird. I never had anything like that happen, but let me see here.
I had to put coolant in it.
Mandy says, yes, last week we got 3 nights of 30s temperature. It took out the peach fruits, all watermelon and pumpkin seeds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just be thankful you're not growing and that you're not gardening because you have to, right? Because could you imagine these kinds of catastrophes if there wasn't a system anymore, or we were living, like the 1800s, how catastrophic it would have been for someone back at like a Little House on the Prairie days to lose
their crop,
a whole crop of something,
But it's not too late though, right? Just put
it right back in. Yeah.
Put more in.
Yeah, we lost all of our fruit as well because of 2 nights of hard freeze.
Well, you can't put new fruit in, but pumpkins and stuff you can.
Terminator said, I used to have a goat when my kids were young. They left the house door open and she followed them and ate all my houseplants. And they would do that.
Yeah, I have to make sure the greenhouse door is shut.
Yeah, Jules says, we have 2 fruit trees planted, 2 peach and nectarine. I'm expecting it'll take a couple more years before they start producing. Oh yeah, I've got trees now that are 4 years old that haven't produced anything yet, and I've got some that are 4 years old that are just now starting to produce.
Yeah. Oh, I planted Terminator's sugar maple seeds.
Oh, cool. Put them in pots.
Yeah, and Skane's ginkgo biloba.
For what?
Ginkgo
biloba.
Yeah, she gave me like 12 of those seeds, and I planted those also. Which I guess we won't be able to see in our lifetime, but somebody will.
You'll be able to see a tree. You probably won't be tapping them, but.
I'm starting chicken eggs tomorrow. I got 7 of 20 turkey eggs to hatch. 1 hatched before the lockdown day, and then the other
6.
Well, no, basically, I think 1. So the other 5 hatched on their own, like yesterday. And then 1 I had to pull out. And then 2 were no good. The rest are still in there because it could be a little bit longer, I guess. They're like natural nests.
Let's see here. Terminator says, I have 2 Tanger trees. I don't even know what that is. That are about 1 foot tall. And I started 3 orange trees. I started from seeds and they're about 6 inches tall and all doing well. I'd love to see what happens with those orange trees because they don't do well with the cold. And we know that it'll be cold. I am grateful I have this community to learn from. My first garden and fruit trees, and I'm overly excited. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. And there's a lot of things you can watch on YouTube. There's a lot of things, but I'm going to tell you that for me, the best way to learn is go get dirty and figure it out, That's what I think, but go ahead.
Then breakfast tomorrow?
Oh yeah. We're going to have breakfast at the community building tomorrow, which will be pretty cool. We're having pancakes.
Oh, you know that?
I do. How do you suppose I knew we were having breakfast tomorrow?
I thought maybe you were just telling me. Yeah, like
guessing.
No, like we're going to have French toast.
Yeah, we had French toast last week. Week before last. So.
Did.
Mm-hmm. So we can't have that twice in a row.
No.
Right?
I guess not.
So.
It'll be a good time though.
Yep.
Do you know what time?
9 o'clock.
You're 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I put a post out for those who are on the chat, who live around here. I put a post out on Discord. But it'll be excited.
I did not see that yet.
Yeah.
I've not been on Discord.
Yeah.
I've been doing other stuff.
Yep. Happens to the best of us, right?
Well, you're sitting in you're sitting at a desk with a computer with your phone right at you. So if it would not be unlike you to be on your phone.
No, typically I'm doing 2 or 3 things at the exact same time.
The majority of the time I set my phone down somewhere and forget where I put it, and then have to wait till it rings.
Romans Girl says getting dirty is the best way, but I really like Jess at Roots and Refuge too. I learned a lot from her. Yeah, and there's a lot of things that that we've learned along the way that someone gave us a tip on, but the way we get great at it is go doing it.
Learn what works for you.
Yeah, because the climates are different. There's just so many things that are different. Each year is different, and there's no 2 years that are alike. There'll be crops this year that don't do well that did great last year, and crops that we couldn't get to grow last year or didn't do well that will do super great this year.
Isn't that how it goes?
Yep. Silver Linings trying to send people seeds. This just should not surprise anyone. Dan, do you have your Discord address posted? I don't. We purposely don't do it where the whole world can see it. But Dan, if you send me an email, I'll let you know where it's at. Tag and be at lifedonefree.com. Let's see here. Hey, we'll be cool. Says, hey, folks, just had to deal with a nail in the tire. I hate that.
Seems like we always have flats around here.
Yeah.
The lawnmower, the log splitter, the other lawnmower.
That's why I just keep foam filling them all.
Yeah. You can't those big ones, though.
The big ones you can't, but all the wheelbarrow tires and all the ones of the log splitter tires, those all can be foam filled.
Lawnmower.
I mean, yeah, you're not dealing with blown flat lawnmower tires up front anymore, are you?
The big ones.
The big ones you are, but yeah, I can't do those.
I just got new tires on those, so I need to take it off and take it back in.
J-Dog says pancakes with a side of Konich sausage. So good.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Let's see here. Nito says another is William Bond at Permaculture Consultant on YouTube. Yeah, they know a lot. I'm going to get I did a live with Fair Oaks Permaculture, and they've offered in return that they would do one on my channel or just over the Zoom or whatever it is to talk about permaculture. So I'll probably broadcast that live or whatever, or maybe not. I don't have any idea, but anyway, I'm working on getting that set up.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. I was going to do it this next the second Saturday in May, but I forgot Midwest Preparedness is going on that time, so I don't want to. I want to make sure people can get.
Have to do the third.
Well, I just want to make sure people can get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. Tag. I knew a lady years ago that grew a tangerine trees. She kept it in her house in the winter and put it in her greenhouse in the summer. I tasted the tangerine off the tree. Yummy. Yeah, super cool.
That'd be cool.
Kunika sausage. I'm not sure what a Kunika sausage is, but I'm a pretty big fan of sausage, so that's good. See here, my grandson bought me a big feast of smelts yesterday, and I cooked them for supper. Delicious. That's a fish, in case you didn't know.
Okay.
Oh, they're talking.
Like a fish fry? What'd you do?
Yeah, they're little ones.
We haven't had fish in a long time.
We should do a fish fry.
We should do a fish fry.
Yeah.
We should get some of that bass from the neighbor.
You could just go out and get a fishing pole and go catch it in our pond.
If you're going to clean it.
Yeah.
Clean them.
Let's see here. Jewel says, one day I hope to get William Bond out to my property to help me figure things out better. Yeah, he's pretty responsive. So, you can reach out to him and, he's pretty responsive.
He does do that.
Yeah. Anything else you talk about, or you want me to get your pictures?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because I don't know.
I don't know why you send me half these pictures, but.
Oh, because look, they're all out with the chickens.
Yeah.
And there's a 3.
Where's Brownie?
She's not in this picture, but look, the 2 little tiny babies out there with them.
Yeah. The new baby and the old baby and the chickens. Everything's turning green.
Yeah, this is like our backyard.
Yeah.
And they're all the way over from the barn. So I go over there in the morning to check on them, let them out of their pens, and then they follow me home.
Yeah, this picture's halfway between the barn or the chicken coop and the house. Right.
Well, yeah.
Right outside the powerhouse, yeah. Yeah, that baby's awful cute.
Yeah.
Her name's Any Day. Yeah. So that's Any Day, Blackberry, and Corky, and then the other mom is somewhere around there.
And we've lost her twice this week.
She likes to hide in holes.
Well, the mom takes her out for a walk and then gets spooked and runs back to the barn and leaves her.
Good mom.
So I was looking, found her over at the barrels where I keep the kenneling at the back deck. And so found her, took her back home. And then when the girls were over helping me garden, I couldn't find her. I was looking for her. And then Jess goes, she's in the barn. She went over to the barn and Corky wouldn't come out of the barn. And Jess was like, come on, come on. And she was like, just standing there looking. And she goes, I think she's in the barn. And she goes, yeah, I found her. She's here. She was hiding in a blue barrel.
Tulip Little Angel, hello, welcome in, by the way, says, I'm in North Idaho and I have a 4-year-old key lime bush in a 12-inch pot. It gave me 2 dozen limes this winter. Yes, it comes in the winter. Super cool.
Wow.
And Dan says, Corky, I love it. And if you know, you know. Right? If you know, you know. Dan knows.
Yeah, these were the Roma tomatoes in the snail. See the snail roll?
Snail roll. Okay.
They got a little big, so we transplanted them into the 4-inch pots. And look at the root. So when we unrolled that, the root was all the way down to the bottom of the roll and then getting its water right there from the bottom. So we just coiled it up and put dirt on it and filled the pots up. And now I have, I think, 4 trays of Romas.
Are they Romas or are they Amish pastes?
These ones are Roma.
Okay.
We have Roma, we have Amish paste, we have...
Say normally you don't grow many Romas anymore?
Abe Lincoln. I have, there's all kinds. We are doing a little of everything. Those are them. See how healthy they look.
Well, those are not tomatoes.
No, the tomatoes on the... So those are the 4 trays of the Romas. And then the next one is... That's the corn.
That's corn?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. You better get that out of there.
Houston.
You got a problem.
They need to ground. I don't know. Can we grow corn fully in a snail roll?
Oh.
No, we need to get this planted.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the farmers are getting their corn planted now too. So, have you seen anybody's corn up?
No, nothing up yet. But I've seen a lot of tractors in the field. So, but they don't typically grow it in a greenhouse and then plant it. They do it. Most normal people do, which is just put a corn
seed in the ground. That's
let
weird.
It grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm wishing the best on it.
We're gonna try it. Never done it.
Absolutely.
Never done it this way before.
Yeah.
But
and neither is anybody else.
We're gonna. Well, Louise said that she transplants her corn.
Louise is a smart cookie, so
that's where you
get it from.
Yep. The first picture of that is the cilantro already.
Why are you growing cilantro on a trellis?
Okay, so this was where the peppers were last year, and the cilantro was planted amongst the peppers. And it has just already come back.
Oh, so it just come on back.
It seeded itself, and then it's coming back all by itself. And then the next picture, the zucchini and the cantaloupe, Jess started those in her house and brought them over. And those are already like 7 inches tall.
The king himself, Jeff Juicy Hefty Lefty Amazon Mud Dog or Slick, is in the house and wants to know what kind of corn you planted.
It's a sweet corn. Because you said you wanted to eat it. It's like yellow white.
Yellow white sweet corn? What they call that? There's another name for that. I don't remember.
Yellow white?
No, there's like...
there is a name.
Yeah.
So this is the bed. One of the ones that we have been working on to make alive. Trying to amend it.
There you go.
Yes.
I
There
knew it
you
was
go.
something in cream. I couldn't remember what it was, but it was something.
This was where we planted the potatoes when
Last year. No, not last year, the year
No.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when Silver Lining helped me try to dig them up.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of potatoes in here.
Let's see here. Permatopia says, I did experiment plant corn inside the greenhouse from a snail roll. Some continue to grow big, some still small, and a few didn't make it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nito says, I started corn in toilet paper rolls. Seems to hold up to transplanting for me. Adam and Cindy, how are you? From ACM Homestead are in the house, says peaches and cream.
Yes, that's it.
Lisa says, or bicolor corn.
Yep. It's peaches and cream, I think.
Okay. So what are you going to plant in here when you...
I have not gotten that far yet. I'm trying to make this bed not just
Because it was just super hard.
dirt. Well, there was no there was like a mole or something living in here underneath the paper. It had made tunnels. Got rid of that. And
the dogs get it?
No, because this is fenced in. So they can't get in here. But look, right in front of that bed is a big old potato growing.
All by itself.
Yeah.
From 2 years ago.
Yes. And so this had the plastic on it, and then the bricks were on the plastic. So we just rolled the bricks off and then took the plastic off. And this bed, yeah, so we had already put the pippin poop on here. And
I can come turn it all over the skid steer if you want me to.
Something else. Oh, peat moss, which is just to help break it up. No, I don't want the skid loader in there. I don't think I want the skid loader in there.
The beautiful Louise Wesley is in the house. Says, we started our corn in Tennessee in the greenhouse and transplanted to the garden. You have a jump on the locals. Gypsy said, we've done Silver Queen and Peaches Cream. Worked great getting an early start.
Really?
Yeah. And Gratitude to Grace says, I hardened off 80 tomato plants this week. Gave away 4. Need to pot some up and plant in my flower garden so I can start other veggies. Yeah, good for you.
80, nice. Good job.
80's a lot.
Yeah. These are 2 beds that we had gotten
ready,
covered and ready. Yeah. And the bricks are just holding it on there because I do not want that to fly off. These are just bricks that we had found in the yard when we first got the property. So we just keep them in a pallet in the garden, and I just use them from bed to bed as I need them, and then just stack them back up on the pallet when they're not in use. So they were just a free resource. The asparagus was picked today, and some of it has it has started just slightly to flower at the top, but I ate it off. But you're going to get some asparagus tomorrow for dinner, you lucky fella.
Oh, yum.
You don't like asparagus very well,
That's right. To me, it's right up there with squash.
And broccoli and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. And
broccoli and cauliflower rock. Brussels sprouts would be in the category of asparagus and squash.
And zucchini.
But broccoli and cauliflower, I'll eat a lot. I like
broccoli and cauliflower with cheese.
Or nothing. Actually, broccoli is in my opinion, one of the best vegetables to eat just raw. So
I'll give you more.
Silver Lining says, picky.
He says, I'm not a picky eater.
I'm really not. Gypsy says squash is way better. Yeah. J-Dog says, nice size ones too. Stan Guthrie, welcome in. Let's see here. Squatchy says, I love the asparagus. The Loper, not so much. So we hardly have it. Yeah, it's me and the Loper got something in common. Because B would eat it all the time too.
I'd eat it raw right there out of the garden.
Yeah. Pockety's Garden says he likes raw okra.
I have not had okra. Not like, do you like okra?
The only way I've ever had it is fried.
Like battered and
fried is the only way I've ever had it.
Is there another way to? Well, raw. He eats it raw.
Yeah. Packrat says B, he wants you to plant cinnamon roll seeds. Yeah, come on. Get with the program. MJ in Wisconsin, how are you? Good to see you. I hope everything is wonderful with you. Let's see here. Conserve Friend says, sweet corn and homegrown tomatoes are great. No need for any of the rest. Yeah, I would add potatoes to that list. green peppers to that list. As far as my favorite type vegetables,
Watermelon, onion, garlic.
Pete says it's probably the Mongolian blood in him and you.
I like that.
Yeah, you guys are related
The
that way.
pungent.
Yeah, Squatchy and me are related somehow. Silver Lining says raw okra is good but hairy.
Hairy?
So do you like the natural good hairy stuff, Silver Lining? Just out of
It's
curiosity.
hairy? You eat the whole like pod, or
I don't know.
break it open, eat something inside?
J-Dog
Little
says
balls?
okra and gumbo isn't bad. Instigator says, oh, there's a whole book on okra called The Whole Okra, 70 plus varieties. Yeah, Will Be Cool says okra and tomatoes, pick okra, baked okra. Oh, Lazy Lope says gotta have jalapenos. Yep, like jalapenos.
Our jalapeno seeds are not doing too well.
Silver Lining says with authority, no. She doesn't like eating the raw hairy things.
It's a sentence.
That's a complete sentence too. I think early in Silver Lining and I's relationship, she might have fallen for that, and we'd had fun with it. But she took none of the bait.
She puts you at your place now.
I know, right?
She is not putting up with it.
I liked it a lot better when she was intimidated by me or something. Now it's all out the window.
No.
Let's see here. Nito says, I like okra battered and fried, added to soups, or just boiled. Not so much. It gets too slimy for me. Primitive Farm says, harvest a bunch of cabbages. I like cabbage, especially when she makes it into sauerkraut. B makes amazing sauerkraut. So far, made about 20 pounds of sauerkraut and gave some to family, and for us, still have more to freeze. Sauerkraut is amazing.
You already have harvested your cabbage?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I only like okra when someone else makes it. Yeah. Is it hard to make? Like I said, I don't know anything about it. And Silver Lining said, oh no, not intimidated, just cautious. Well, I liked it a whole lot better when you were cautious. Just saying. It was a lot funner for me. Anyway. What else? I'm working on my truck. I just figured I'd give you guys some updates on it.
What are those white squares?
What?
Air filters?
Air filters, yeah. That's inside what we paint in. So that the filters in the door, those are regular house filters that I just made a slot for them to slide in. And then on the back, you guys can't see it, but on the back wall, there's a big blower. And so it sucks air through here.
Oh, okay.
So that you don't get, too much. But we got all the doors hung and the front fenders hung. Still working on some adjustments, but getting closer to. B hasn't even seen these pictures yet.
No.
Let's see
It's
here.
looking better.
Yeah.
The most expensive truck we own.
Yeah, let's see here. Stan Gunther said, I planted peppermint and basil a few days ago. Lazy Lope says, Squatchy is still waiting for me to make the craft. And Mandy says, we grew our cabbages inside green from fall to winter. Wow.
Oh.
Dana Green says, my pickled jalapenos from 2 years ago are good still. Have frozen pints. Laugh out loud. I'm doing some other peppers this year. Good for you. Good for you. Oh, kraut. She says not craft, kraut. So we'll reread it. Squatchy is still waiting for me to make the kraut. Yeah, sauerkraut is good.
That's
stuff.
like so simple. Just salt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your feet.
And time.
You just walk on it.
Time, right?
Yeah.
Lots of time.
Do you remember when the first time we made sauerkraut and...
We didn't make any sauerkraut. We have never made sauerkraut.
Kyle and I made sauerkraut.
That might be true.
So our youngest son and I made sauerkraut, and his grandfather, which is his mother's dad, said that the only way to make sauerkraut is to use your feet. And so he did. I ground up all the cabbage and I put it into the crock and put the salt and layered salt layer. And he got in there and he mashed it with his feet and just sat there and mashed it with his feet.
Yeah, my boys' grandfather was a German butcher who came over here from Germany in 1971. And he knew a lot of that old school stuff.
He was hard to understand for me.
He was hard, but He's passed now, but he was super, super, super good man.
Yeah, he was very nice.
I'm going to reread Dana Green's comment because I read it wrong. It said, my pickled jalapenos from 2 years ago are good. Still have a dozen pints. I said frozen.
Oh, that makes way more sense. Still have a dozen pints.
TJ Kraut, toe jam.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make him wash his feet first?
Oh, yes, of course.
Nito says, my peppermint got burned in the freeze. It's coming back, though. I use it in my coops a lot.
Oh.
Yep. Anyway.
That reminds me. I want to plant that around the... Thank you for saying that.
Nito, she got beat him. Take a note. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting my truck done. It's been a long time coming, but I know it doesn't look like much, but there's a lot to what's right there. You know,
it's all 3 different colors right now.
Well, yeah, it's all jammed. Just we got to paint the outside now, but it's you know, the windshield and windows are going in. Everything's getting adjusted. It's already got a new engine, new Trinity, new transfer case.
You put the windows in before you paint the outside?
Yeah, so maybe see up here. This is called the jam. They jam it, so they paint the jam where the window goes, and then you mask around the window and paint the whole thing. So where the window sits is already painted. That's called jamming it. But let's see here.
And that's what you broke? The back window?
Front windshield. Put it in. So I had to go buy another one. That wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy that. Squatchy says pints of Fromunda. I don't know what that is. J Dog, he says, I hear sauerkraut and think of Reuben sandwiches. Me too. Yeah.
And brats.
Yeah. Terminator said, my husband just finished the last jar of pickled eggs. Yeah.
Would you eat pickled eggs?
Oh, yeah.
If I made pickled eggs?
Yeah, I'd try them. Let's see here. Love Reuben's corned beef or pastrami. I prefer corned beef.
Me too.
Yeah. Let's see. Squatchy. Ooh, Squatchy. Let's see here. Hey, Regenerative Orchards. How are you? Welcome in. We need to get you on a live one of these days, and let's talk about regenerative orchards. I'd like to do that. One thing I suck at, just so you know, is fruit trees. I have struggled my whole life, and I've killed my share of them. That's for sure. You agree?
Yes. Well, some of them weren't you.
Yeah. Take your time, tag on your truck, and when it's done right, it will be like brand new and will last a lifetime. Yeah, well, I mean,
I hope so.
To buy a 1-ton 4-door 4-wheel drive pickup today is $120,000 to buy a new one. So this is I've restored a lot of cars through my life, and let's say a lot, maybe 8 or 10. But I enjoy doing it, and I'm really looking forward to getting my 1973 Chevy Crew Cab 1-ton pickup on the road.
So much better than that split window.
No,
whatever.
I would trade this truck for that split window every day of the week. She's talking about a 63 split window Corvette, which is my dream muscle car. If I found one of them, I would trade this, man, my black truck and my Jeep and your Jeep for it. So just, you know. It's all gone if that deal came up. Oh, yeah. Babe, you don't, I love you, but you have no idea what you're talking about. Just saying.
No, because we can't go to Sam's Club in that.
I don't care. If I have a 63 split window Corvette, I'll buy you something. I'll get you a jalopy to go to Sam's Club in. It don't matter.
Get you an Uber.
Yeah. Regenerative Orchard said, would love to. I'll shoot you an email. Yeah, perfect. We'll set something up. We'll talk fruit trees because I'd love to learn more. David says, what kind of engine? So it's got an LQ9 in it, which is a 6-liter gas LS engine. They only came in the upper end Cadillac. So it's basically the same as like an LS4, but just more output. And I wanted a pretty good sized engine to run this thing because it's a big truck. Let's see here. It's actually an LS3 LQ9 if you get technical about it. So it's an LS3 LQ9 6-liter. And David, welcome in. Happy Friday to you too. Yeah, he says, oh, close. Started with an L. That's very true. They're all LSs, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to have a mile on it, you know. Carrie Davis says, sounds like a midlife crisis. You guys, I've been working. I owned this truck. When did I got that right? When we first got here, right?
It here?
Yeah. Did I get it here?
It was red, right?
Yeah, it was red. Did I get it here or did I get it at the old house?
I think it was here.
Okay. I've owned this truck almost as long as we've owned this farm. And yeah,
been working on it ever since.
Well, the problem is I'm in the time that I've been working on this truck, I've built a
House,
right? Shops, barns, fields, fences.
not barns.
Yeah. Well, depending on
fences. Yes,
depending
all
on how you count it.
That's true.
Because I count that as a barn. I count that as a barn. You know, a chicken coop's a barn. The turkey coop's a barn. So nice try, but anyway.
10 buildings.
Yeah.
10 buildings.
Hey, Brett Boyd. Good to see you. Welcome in. It has been a bit. Terminator says, my husband had a 69 Dodge Super B, see, beautiful, with a 383 engine with full racing cam, 4-barrel Holley carburetor, and 15-inch race slicks on chrome rims for back tires. Yeah. I had a 70.5 split bumper Camaro once. I've had a Porsche once, had a couple Corvettes. But
I'm a PT Cruiser.
I'm getting too old. I'm getting too old for that. I now I'm building a truck. Aren't you just a smart ass tonight?
That PT Cruiser was cool.
On first startup, are you going to do the Tim the Toolman? Ha. Yeah, I might. If I'm still alive by that time, because it feels like to me this is taking forever. Anyone has experience with getting skunk out of a chicken coop without getting sprayed?
Oh, the animal?
Oh, yeah, I'd send the dogs in after if it was me.
The dogs are going to get sprayed.
Yeah, but then you give the dogs
just leave the door open. Won't it come out?
Yeah, because it's really not a good solution right there.
I would not go in there with it.
Well, and even if you shoot it, as soon as you shoot it, it's going to spray. Right?
The coop.
If you trap it, it's going to spray.
You want it to come out of the coop.
I agree. You want it to come out of the coop, or that will be fun for a long time.
I would put a whole buffet outside of the door.
And get them out.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would put like cake and all kinds of stuff outside. Get it out of the building. Yeah. And then trap it. Get a basket with a stick and lift it up.
Oh my God. I want to see you do that with a skunk.
Tie a rope to the stick and go around the corner.
Oh my God. My wife's lost
her mind. Cartoon.
You are a cartoon. Dana Green says, shoot from a distance. The problem is if you shoot it in the coop, it's going to spray.
Yep.
And you're going to have that smell in your coop the whole time.
You got to get it out.
Oh, yeah. Terminator says, throw a blanket over. Yeah, Mandy, throw a blanket over, but please videotape it and send me the videotape. That'll be quite an experience. Yeah, you're going to get sprayed through the blanket. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Nito says, Permatopia, being that I am in the desert, anything that holds up to the heat and covers the ground works for me. Got it. J-Dog says, BB gun, maybe the problem is you shoot it, it's going to spray, and then you've got that, that smell in there. Have you considered a 12-valve mechanical diesel? I have. Actually, we went back and forth between a 12-valve Cummins and the gasoline engine. But because I'm going to drive this thing a lot, I elected to go the way I went. But yeah, we did. We debated it a bunch. Yeah, B. You're in. Oh, Squatchy's got a good idea. A clear shower curtain from a dollar store. Now I kind of buy that, although you're still going to have the spray in there because it's going to get on the ground. But you would maintain it. I mean, you would keep it somewhat, right? Brett Boyd says, hey, just want to share. I bought a Vivor 320 vacuum sealer. I'm blown away. $320 something. Wow, does an amazing job compared to the $1,000. Look forward to using it in the garden. You know what? I've bought a bunch of Vivor stuff, and I've never really had a problem with it. I mean, I have all of my water pumps, Brett, that run the chicken coop and the turkey coop and the bee machine, right? I mean, those are all Vivor 12-volt water pumps. I've done really good with them. I just bought a hose reel for the back of her bee machine. I'm going to install it tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow or Sunday. And so, yeah. I believe that. Permatopia said, I tried to get it out, but it did spray. I duck and missed the coop. It smelled so bad. I ended up shooting it. Okay. Wow. Yeah, if it had already sprayed in the coop, then I'd just shoot it. Be done with it. Yeah. Let's see.
Ducked.
Vivor is supposed to be starting to build brick and mortar stores, I believe. Yeah, I've been pretty impressed. Let's get trucking on. That's just looking
down. Trucking on.
Yeah, I didn't intend that.
Redundant.
Yeah. So that's just down the front of it. You can see the engine in there. That's an LS LQ9, but it's mechanically, it's all done. A little bit of wiring left to do, but we're just all doing body work and all that stuff. But I won't bore you guys with that too much more. We want to talk about this?
Oh, yeah. This was crazy. We were sitting there watching it. The news says it was coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And then it like just miraculously splits around us and then regains on the opposite side of us.
Hey, we have Donnie in the house, and Donnie says, hello, everyone. This is Kip, Louise and Jeff's son. Well, I want to know, Donnie, what was it like growing up in a house of royalty?
No kidding.
Right?
Right.
Was there a lot of pressure knowing that you were living in,
Right.
Yep. I want to know, Donnie. You got to tell me. Give me some dirt on Jeff and Louise.
Big foots to follow.
Yep. I had a juvenile skunk that got into the coop. If I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. But my game bird hen was sitting on a nest, and she was taking chunks of hide fighting it.
Wow.
Yeah. Louise says, hey, guys, our son is watching live for the first time. Send a hello to Kip. Well, I can do that.
Hello.
Look at that. There we go. Brett says, tag no EMP need for that truck. Well, there's one vulnerable part in it because which would be the computer, which I took down and had completely wiped except for the operating system. Now the computer itself is in a metal box, so that's going to help it a lot. And I'll put an EMP shield right at the computer box too, but it will have minimum impact. Oh, Luis Wesley says he's a concrete guy. Boy, you need to move out here to Kansas.
Him our friend.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Jeff, although he fought tooth and nail the entire way, is kind of secretly has a man crush on concrete.
He just, so you know. He enjoys it.
Yeah, he don't really admit it because he's afraid of me saying I told you so, but he's like secretly, there's a man crush on concrete. Last night, guys, we had a bunch of tornadoes. Kansas was hit with a bunch of them. Oklahoma was hit with a bunch of them. Iowa was hit with. We didn't. It's funny where we live. We live in this weird place where typically the storms go beneath us and above us. I don't know why they do, but they do. And so we weren't really in any danger. Although B was running around the whole time like it was this catastrophic event.
No, I was just getting things ready.
You kept come find me every 10 minutes going. Are we okay?
Tornado on the ground.
Where's the tornado on the ground, honey? Wisconsin? Why are you coming to me for a tornado on the ground in Wisconsin?
Tornado warning in Topeka.
So I just thought I'd share you guys the pictures of the ones that were happening yesterday. That middle picture, that's a thunderhead, right? That's a storm that will produce a tornado. Picture was taken over Topeka, Kansas yesterday. That middle picture. Yeah. Look at that storm wicked. The picture on the right I found interesting because it had two tornadoes in it. See them?
Yep.
A big one and a little one.
Is that the one that they were talking about went to the fertilizer plant or whatever?
Yeah.
Headed that way.
In Eden, Oklahoma. Yep, pretty neat. And I thought I would share these pictures because I thought they were funny. One thing about Midwesterns is when the tornadoes come, people go out and watch them.
And they're taking pictures. They're posing in front of it. This was the 26th tornado.
Yeah, and in my life, if we're under a tornado watch, the skies are sunny and blue. B is running around. Where's the safe? Where's the...
Right. Get your wallet. Get a headlamp. You got a headlamp? You're not using mine.
What I want to know is, I want to meet the parents of the 3 kids that were out there watching the tornado.
The parents are taking the picture.
And you think they're standing right behind them?
Yeah.
This is Midwesterns. This is what the Central Plains people do right here. Wow, look at that thing.
Well, I mean, that looks kind of far away from where they are. I think it's interesting that the ones that are posing, though.
Yeah, like that one?
Yeah. This is Ma and Pa.
Yeah.
And 26.
Yeah. Super crazy. And the big one hit in Eden, Oklahoma. You guys have probably seen it. I just thought I'd share some pictures with you guys, but they declared it a mass casualty event. I have not heard of the number of deaths and all that, but it went right through a subdivision in Eden, Oklahoma. And so obviously prayers out there to, all the people suffering from that. It'd be hard to have, something you've worked your whole life for, to kind of be taken from you. And, it's pretty sad. But our community up here was perfectly safe. But It don't matter because every one of those houses is, somebody's mom or dad or sister or brother or aunt or uncle or, whatever. And, so I know that there's people trying to figure out how they're going to put their lives back together tonight. So let's see here. Brett said, tag, that's the people that grew up with no seatbelts.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the people that grew up with no seatbelts right there. That's the Gen X sending their kids out to watch the tornadoes, Yeah. Dana says Texas has some big storms at times. Yes, they do. What I thought was interesting about the Enid tornado one was that it direct hit a military base, an Air Force base down there. Vance Air Force Base took a strike. And what's interesting about that is Vance Air Force Base trains a lot of the fighter pilots. It's the home of the 71st Flying Training Wing, the one, that they, again, where the pipeline of pilots comes out of. So that's not good, And it took a direct hit. So I found this story to be interesting today. The experts are saying we're going to expect to have one of the worst tick seasons on record.
Did you hear there was a farmer that found a box of ticks?
There is. That's a fact. Yep, that's a fact. So tick season expected to be one of the worst on record. It's going to be a bad tick year, they go on to say. And then Pfizer announced that they have a Lyme disease vaccine in the third stages of trials.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. So the good news is we're going to be saved. And yeah, baby, if you read that bottom one down there, farmers across the country are finding boxes packed full of ticks dumped into their fields, just sitting there.
More than one?
Yeah.
Farmer?
That's what they were reporting. Now, I wasn't there, so, I can't confirm it, But the good news is Bill Gates and company invest in genetically engineered ticks. Legacy Media says we're going to have a bad tick season. Pfizer comes in and says we've got a solution, right? Problem, solution, problem, solution, problem, solution. And lots of money gets made along the way. And we get to continue to be their guinea pigs, apparently. But so anyway, get your guineas, right? Get your guineas. Some of the absolute best tick deterrent there is a guinea. Here we go. Says Carrie says make tick checks sexy again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go with the vaccines. Yep. And Dana says, yeah, no way. Yeah, we say no way, but it's so funny. They, for years and years and years talked about global warming was caused by cow farts. What a great way to stop us from eating beef than to give everybody alpha gals, right? Then you don't have to worry about the beef price anymore because nobody can eat it. That would bankrupt a whole lot of beef farmers, especially in places like Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas and Nebraska and all these places that, that raise all of that beef. And well, since they went bankrupt, their land would probably come up for sale cheap. Well, and since it came up for sale cheap, we could probably put some data centers in.
They're not growing cows anyways. They don't need the fields to feed them or to house them. Or...
Nito says, don't have a tick problem. Have a lack of a possum or guineas. Yep, guineas. Yeah, Terminator said, I'll never get any of those vaccines. I won't either. We thought about those guinea, but the noise, you know what? You get used to them.
You can hear them from here.
I can hear them right now. They're out there balking. But Lazy Loper, here's the thing, but they are great at what they do. We very rarely, if I stick around the house, the paddocks where the animals are, the 5 acres here that we've cleared where the guineas and everything run, I never get a tick.
Man, the guineas have been going farther and farther. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, Permatopia, sorry, says, yeah, we are the same. Again, you get used to the guineas. I barely hear them anymore because I've had them for so long. I don't really notice them,
I notice them because usually they're telling me something.
And Jules,
I listen to them.
One of our neighbors has guineas, noisy little creatures. They are noisy. I grew up in an area, stayed in the woods barefoot and shorts, never had a tick. Plenty of chiggers now go out in the wood and ticks. Dan says, I hate the noise of guineas. Yeah, I agree, but I hate the idea of getting Lyme disease and alpha gals worse than I hate the noise of guineas. But we're going to keep growing them. It's our guineas grow up in the food forest. They've just figured out how to pull all that off. So.
I found one guinea egg.
Did you?
In the chicken coop.
Did you put an incubator?
No, because you don't want guineas.
No, well, no.
You want me to get rid of the guineas I've got?
No, babe, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is me playing the long game. So how many? Let's do a little exercise here. How many guineas did you have before last year? 7.
5.
You had 5. So they figured out they could get into the food
One
forest.
died.
And okay, hold on. They figured out they could get in the food forest and raise their young safely. So you went from 5 in 1 year. How many do you have now?
21.
21. Do you know what percentage that is? Okay.
Hi.
Okay. So from 5 to 20, right? That's 400% increase, right? So if you did if the same thing happens this year, which it won't because it will multiply, it'll get even faster.
I don't know.
You're going to end up with 200 guineas this year. And what I'm saying is there comes a point where that gets to be too many.
You can eat them.
So I think we should bless the homesteads and the people around us and just keep that number to 20 or 30 guineas and not let it get to 200, which is my point.
I was thinking about building a little house and putting it in the orchard so that they could have their own little house in there.
Really? You're going to build them a house?
I was thinking that you could.
Oh, you're so smart. You can do it.
21.
21 what?
You built 20 buildings. You can just build one more. Oh, 10. It was 10, right?
Oh, goodness. Joel says, I need to get a coop built so I can get chickens and turkeys. Yeah, turkeys are my favorite.
You'll need 2 coops for chickens and turkeys.
Yeah, you will. Yep, I agree. I should get over my hate. Yeah, because there are a lot of ticks out there. Silver Lining says...
And you really don't have to feed them. They just, they live on their own. They're like...
The rabid.
Yeah, they're like having adult children. They just come every now and again.
And want you to wash the clothes?
No.
She says, please, no math questions. Silver Lining. Nito says, laugh out loud, not chicken math, guinea math. Right.
No, I just didn't want to hear the answer.
Right.
I didn't want to hear where he was going with that. I knew it was high.
Yeah, not a lot of ticks. I'm with you, Tag. I don't want lime, alpha gal, Rocky Mountain spotted feeder. The guinea calls are sweet, sweet music. Predator pressure has reduced guineas out on the pasture. Yeah, and we're going to lose some. But at the rate that we're going, if we just leave them to hatch on their own, if you go from the same number, so then I'm going to go from 21, right?
They're not all girls, though.
I understand. I'm just simply going by the number that it grew from last year. If we continue to grow the same,
it did get.
Yeah, you're going to go 20, 40, 60, 80. We're going to finish the year with 90 of them little things.
I honestly thought that half of them wouldn't survive.
You thought wrong.
I know, but.
So if you were wrong in your first guinea, your chances of being wrong.
My success rate cannot continue like that. I mean, look, I just had 20 turkey eggs and 7 of them hatched. So
yeah,
that's not the greatest numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Terminator says my turkeys are getting ready to sit. Yeah, B already hatched 6 or 7 turkeys, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Which is pretty cool. All right, let's get trucking here because we're yapping. Real quick, I did a live earlier this week with Permaculture Fair Oaks. You guys should check it out. It was pretty cool. They're going to come on the channel and we're going to have a conversation and probably zoom it into the community building so that the community can hear it and we can ask permaculture questions. So I would encourage you guys to check up on that too. Packrat says, come to Tag's get together, get a free guinea and a swap bag. Yeah, you catch it.
Swag bag.
Yeah.
With a guinea.
Yep. Guineas said they're annoying, but man, they're so much better at that job than a chicken or a turkey is. You know, chickens and turkeys, they'll eat ticks all day long too, but they don't hunt them like a guinea does.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't sit and watch what they're eating.
You don't?
No.
Do you pay any attention to them? Any attention to them at all?
The guineas?
Yeah.
Not really, because I can't catch them. I can't. They're not really friendly.
Mandy says, do predators leave guineas alone or do we need to have electric fence to protect them? What about winter? They'll do just fine in the winter. They'll sleep up in the trees.
They run away fast.
Yeah.
You got to lock them up for 6 months in order to make sure that they know that you're their family.
Well, I think that's true in the beginning because our original guineas,
6 months.
We did, but the babies that were born have never been locked up.
That's true.
You know, so the first set we locked up for 6 months, but once they were established, now when they're born, they just all kind of stick around. They go out in the pastures and yeah, predators are going to get a few, guarantee you. But guineas are pretty hardy and they're a lot harder of a target than a chicken is.
Well, yeah, because they like with if you go to catch it, they'll just fly straight up and over you.
Yeah.
They don't need a running start or anything. They're just up and over.
Yeah.
When we were up in the garden, there were 2 guineas up in the top of the mulberry tree, like fighting each other up there.
Yeah.
I had not seen them up so high in any tree. I mean, they could, the tree's full. They could sit at the bottom if they wanted, but they were up at the top.
Yeah.
So
Nito says they're pretty quick at sleeping trees. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mandy, we don't, my animals have a fenced in area they can go and they can be safe, and they've got, coops and stuff, but we let them free range the whole property, and we lose a fair amount. I don't know how many we lose a year. You think between chickens and turkeys and everything? 20 maybe?
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe.
It just depends on the year.
15.
One year it seemed like we lost half of the birds.
Yeah. We just keep growing them. And bee will continue to incubate, forever, until we get towards winter. And so we'll add a whole bunch new to replace them.
I do want to get rid of the birds that are not Sussex.
Mm-hmm.
The chickens, the solid whites and the solid blacks. I want the spotted colored birds. Yeah. They blend into the surroundings easier, I think. So when you have an aerial predator, which that's usually how we lose things. Yeah. A hawk or an owl or something like that, because we have dogs on the ground. Yeah. But
we have no coyote pressure. We have no raccoon pressure. We have none of that. It's all
an aerial bird will just come in, swoop down, grab what they want, and take off. And then they'll go to an area that the dogs can't get into, and they'll sit there and tear the bird apart or the animal apart. So the aerial birds are what we have had the issue with, I think. Yeah. And it's hard to know at this point in time. I used to count my birds every day, and if one was missing, I knew what, they all had different colors, they all had different markings, and I could tell who was who and who laid what eggs. And now with the flock of Sussex, I'm like, they're all the same. I mean, I can tell the roux, obviously, but all the girls look alike. So
they just all look alike to you, huh?
They do. And I'm like, I don't know who's who. If someone's missing, I don't know who's missing. So it's like, well, you're on your own. If you didn't make it, I don't shut them up now anyway. So they basically just go in there. They do still sleep in the chicken coop, and that's basically because that's where I started them, and I locked them up there. So they just go back there.
Yeah, Mandy wants to know, do you let your chickens free range? And if so, do they dig and scratch your garden and trees till root exposure? So our gardens and our food forest, Mandy, are completely fenced. So our chickens do free range. They have access to 40 acres. And of that 40 acres, 20 of it's woods. And so they have access to all of it. But we fenced out the gardens and that in an effort to try to keep them out. They still get in from time to time because they can fly over it, But
they usually don't, though. There's so much other. There's so much other
abundance.
Places. Yeah. And the fencing that I allow them to go in and out of, they can walk in and out of.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So what else we got here? Don't forget, we are going to advertise all of the events at the Great Plains Homestead happenings on Facebook. That's where I'll post them at. And then also don't forget, July the 11th, the Freedom Fest will be here.
I love that picture.
Yeah, it's actually from our pond. It was actually part of the fireworks show.
It's just so clear.
Yeah, that was a great picture. My phone does not take that good a picture.
No, mine doesn't either. That was an Apple phone, right?
Yeah. We spoke to the fireworks people today a little bit and confirmed again. And so they're going to attempt the goal last year. Let me back up. So last year they did fireworks for 2 straight songs. This year we're going to try. The goal is to hit 6, and it was plenty long, and it was a lot.
That's what I said. What was it? 2 songs?
I think it's 2 or 3. Yeah.
And each song is usually like 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of seconds to sit there and watch fireworks.
And it's one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other.
Yes, it's a show. It's not right. It's not some guy running out there with a punk.
Yeah, no. No,
these are all, it is orchestrated to the music. They're firing off electronically, and there's
Yeah.
a guy with a box.
Yeah, it's basically like an iPad.
Actually, he had several boxes.
Yeah, and it just controls all the fireworks.
Yes.
We would love for you guys to come out on July the 11th. I would love to see everybody. It's the highlight of the festival year for me. I think freedom is something we should be celebrating every single day, and if we get an excuse to do it, that's a good thing. So July the 11th is the Freedom Fest. I'll post details as we get closer to it. The Freedom Fest team's working on it. So all I really know right now is we've got the fireworks crew locked up. It's going to be bigger than last year, and it's July the 11th.
Yeah.
That's all the details I have right now.
Yep.
But we'll get there.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, Romans Girl says, my sister has about 20 chickens. She named them all Matilda. Now every time she talks about chicken, she calls her Matilda, and it's correct.
Yeah.
That's smart. Nito said, I have 5 hens that are all game birds. They haven't dug up the root trees yet, but in the garden, I use tool to keep them off the plants.
Oh.
Yeah, Terminator says, I can't let my birds free range, too many predators. Well, again, I think part of the reason why we don't have a lot of predator pressure is we have the guardian dogs.
Well, and it's all fenced in.
It's our whole property's fenced. That's right. But the dogs run the whole area. They have access to everything, and they just go out there and do their job, and they know their job. They're good at their job. And so we have like 0 ground predator pressure because the dogs kill them all the time.
Yeah, something gets into the yard, and just like that, what was that thing that they just killed?
It looked like a big squirrel to me.
It was not a squirrel. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
groundhog.
Looked like a big old squirrel.
It was a groundhog. We'll just call it that.
Okay.
Today, I was in the greenhouse and I heard something scream, and I ran out the door because I thought it was sounded like a bird.
Mm-hmm.
One of the dogs found a rabbit nest and ate the rabbits out of it. And I didn't realize what it was until I got to her, and she had damaged the last one far enough that I couldn't help it. And then I saw what it was, and I'm like, oh man, that is so gross.
I wouldn't say it's gross. I would say it's brutal.
Just right out of the nest and down the hatch. And it was like, oh, yikes.
What I've always found so interesting about the guardian dogs is that they know the difference. They know the difference between a baby goat and a baby rabbit.
The baby that I want to keep.
Right. Like they know. They just know. And
yeah, they don't. Well, I don't have a bunch of baby chicks running around either.
So. Mandy wants to know what you feed your dogs. Depends. So we feed them a lot of eggs. Bee's got this really cool thing that she does. So she takes the sun oven and takes the eggs from the chicken coop and puts them in the original carton. You can stack 8. Is that right? How many you stack in there? Is it 8?
9.
9. She puts 9 dozen eggs back in their carton, puts them in the sun oven, and basically hard boils them in the sun oven, and then grinds them up, cuts them up. And
I don't have to grind them up. I just put them on the ground. They break.
They give them to the dogs, and the dogs love them. They have some dog food. They eat a lot of people food too.
Yeah, they eat whatever we're eating. They get.
Yeah. So silver lining says cuts down on the rabbit infestation in the garden. Yeah, though this is the same girl that found, when I was standing there, found a nest of baby rats and picked them up in her hands and
she sure did.
And hand fed them to the chickens.
She sure did.
So just so you know. Busted. Yep. Dana says, I can't let my chickens free range either. Same predator issues. Gypsy says, add rabbit to their diet. Well, apparently they already have rabbit in their diet.
They do. And so
rabbit's probably what they kill the most of.
Rose ended up with 2 nests today. Mm-hmm. Because she found one on that mound in the backyard. Okay. And then she found one over here by the chicken coop. And she had a whole meal. Mm-hmm. It was
brutal.
Nature
is red in tooth and claw. The big farm cat dropped a wild bunny carcass on the doorstep for the kids to step across on Easter morning.
Good grief.
Love that. Silver Lining says, got to get rid of the pest. Might as well turn them into food.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, coming from the lady that I've watched hand feed baby rats to chickens.
I
Right?
don't want it to go to waste, I guess.
No, I don't blame her.
And it's not like I was going to like take the mice. They were mice. And it wasn't like I was going to take the mice into the house and grow them for later or anything.
I want one of the other ones.
What?
Yeah, one of them. Because we're getting ready to do
So
the
at
good
least
news.
then you're going to, feed the animals some organic protein.
Will you open that? I don't have nails. Let's see here. Well, should we do some good news?
Sure.
You excited?
Yes.
Let's see here.
It's all sticky.
Nito said, I stick a hose down the mice holes, and when they come out, my chickens chase them down. Cuts down on the feed bill.
A hose? Oh, wow.
Roman's girl says, we were joking about the EA. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, Roman. You lost me. There we go. We were joking about the Easter Bunny not surviving that stop till the kids got upset, and we had to assure them that the Easter Bunny is white and bigger.
Oh.
I didn't think about that. I got to do that when the grandkids come out.
No.
The Rose ate the Easter Bunny. That'd be great.
Awful.
No, it's how they learn.
Oh, look. I was going to show this. I found this in the yard.
How long? Where in the heck did that come from?
So.
Did you wash it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has these little tiny, little handles on it. So
maybe one of the wood witches dropped it off their broom.
The neighbor called and said, hey, you got a turkey nest up at the front of the gate. I don't know if it's yours or mine or what. And I was like, oh no, I don't want my turkey nest, not a turkey nest, a turkey hen. He said, there's a turkey hen up at the front of your yard. If you want to keep her from jumping the fence, then you might want to go check her out. And so I got in the Kubota and I ran down to where the corner of the yard over here. And I was like on the phone with him and I'm like, I don't see her. And he's like, oh no, over by the pond. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Why would she be way over there? So I drove all the way over there and I said, oh yeah, I see her. Thanks for letting me know. And I got out and I went over to her, found that she had a little nest with an egg in there. So I grabbed her an egg and I looked down and this was sitting there at the pond. Isn't that weird?
They must have dug it up out of the ground when we dug the pond.
I don't know, but it's all it's like greenish glass and it's all I don't know.
Cool.
It is. But it was pretty interesting.
Kimberly Strickland, how are you? Says, if the chickens free range that much space, how do you locate the eggs? Don't they lay everywhere?
No, well, I mean, if I find them, they're usually in the chicken coop, in the turkey coop, or in the barn.
Right.
They have in the chicken coop, they have chicken nesting boxes. In the turkey coop, they have inside of one of the baby pens, I had left the door open and they made a nest right at the door. And so I just left the nest there and I just collect them every day. And then in the barn, they actually go where the goats are, and between the roll-up door and the interior gate door to keep them from touching the roll-up door, there's how big is that space?
6 inches.
There's just a gap there, and they lay eggs right there. So every day there's a couple eggs right there. So I usually get about anywhere from 1 dozen to 2 dozen. And
that's a good way to answer it too. That they may be laying them somewhere else.
They may be.
But we get such an abundance in the barn,
I'm sure
the chicken coop and the turkey coop, that we don't.
Because every now and again I'll see eggs shells into the yard where the dogs have found their nest and they bring them. Sometimes Rose will bring the egg to me, not broken. But often I find them broken in the yard, all cleaned out. Yeah. So.
Let me see here. Permatopia says maybe the glass jar is an antique and worth something. Silver Lining said I could put it to use. Well, I thought maybe you dropped it off your broom anyway. No. All right, let's get some good news, huh? All right, China just dumped $1.2 trillion in U.S. treasuries, they say. This is the biggest sell-off in the last 20 years, and it's directly tied to the oil crisis. Looks like they know another market crash is coming. China's DF-41 ICBM can now reach every U.S. state in under 30 minutes and carry up to 10 independent warheads and deploy decoys to confuse the missile defenses. China just took the most aggressive diplomatic position in decades. This blew me away today. And I quote, "If the world is to be saved from another third world war, Israel and the United States must be disarmed of nuclear weapons." That's a very provocative statement. China arms Iran, dumps U.S. treasuries, buys discounted Iranian oil, and now demands the United States disarm from being a nuclear power. This is a direct challenge to the U.S. Global dominance.
I don't think they're going to do it.
You don't think what?
I don't think that the U.S. is going to get rid of their...
No. Babe, I have friends in great places who have been, I've said this on my live many, many times, who have said to me that the United States government is planning to be at war with China by 2030. And so this shouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think. The bad news continues. More than 15 countries are now urgently advising their citizens to leave Iran immediately. I know that last week I told you guys that Trump had said that the war was over and that Iran had agreed they would give up their nuclear, they would give up everything, that they're ready to, basically end this. But this week we have a completely different story. U.S., Germany, Italy, Spain, Poland, France, UK, Canada, Finland, Sweden, Serbia, Cyprus, India, South Korea, Singapore, Australia, China, and Brazil have all advised their citizens to leave.
If possible.
Yeah, the Chinese embassy in Iran, again, told all of their citizens to leave. Insiders say that a massive amount of U.S. air activity headed to the Middle East as of yesterday. Last time it happened, it was one day before the start of the U.S.-Iranian war. Something extreme is going to happen. Yeah. G-Dog says 2030 is almost 4 years from now. Yeah, the words that was given to me is that they were planning to be at war with China by 2030. Quote, that's it.
By 2030.
Yep, that's what I was told.
Wow.
And this is not coming from everyone has their private source, right? Whatever. But this is definitely not coming from a, conspiracy person, none of that stuff. This is someone who works in that world that told me that, who's pretty successful in that world. I'll leave it at that. But again, I've said this many times on my live. I don't know if it's true. I'm not even going to pretend to know, but I can tell you that this is what's happening now. G-Dog, welcome in, by the way. Yeah. Pete Squatchy says less than 4 years. And I don't know this. The statement that was made to me was made to me several years ago. So I don't know if the stuff going on in Iran has changed that timeline. I don't know. I mean, it sure is. I promise you, it's not a coincidence that we are actively working on cutting off China's oil supply, first with Venezuela and now with Iran. Right? I promise you, this has nothing to do with freeing the Iranian people. Trump says China has agreed not to supply weapons to Iran. They will give me a big fat hug, unquote. China, just after that, says it's completely a lie that China has agreed with Trump not to supply weapons to Iran. No foreign country has the right to interfere with China's internal affairs. So China says it didn't happen. Donald Trump went on to say Iran has agreed to never close the Straits of Hormuz again. It will no longer be used as a weapon against the world. President Donald Trump. President Trump says Iran's agreed to everything, including the cessation of uranium enrichment, that they're stoked. Iran has announced that the strait is open and for business and everything's wonderful till this week. Iranian sources just said that there will be no talks with the U.S. today. This was today. Foreign Minister, whatever his name is coming to Pakistan only for bilateral meetings. The odds of a peace deal have just dropped below 15%. This is so bad for the markets, says Tracer. Mario goes on to say Iran's military says it's holding the line, but its economy tells a different story. Israel strikes have wiped out 12% of the gas production, 25% of the steel output, and 28% of the petrochemical capacity. Food inflation's crossed 100%. Think about that.
Wow.
In the time, the 6 weeks, that means that'd be like here, a gallon of milk doubling in price in that time.
Yeah.
Right? Internet blackouts are paralyzing businesses. An Iranian minister just confirmed 2 million people have already lost their jobs. The UN now estimates economic contraction of up to 10.4%, potentially pushing 4.1 million more Iranians into poverty. Our industry, along with many others, has practically collapsed. The regime has survived sanctions, assassinations, and protests, but the combination of the active war damage on top of decades of mismanagement and U.S. pressure is beginning to hit differently. The biggest threat to the Iranian government right now may not come from a missile, it could come from the population with nothing left to lose. And I think this is a super good point for any country. You know, when your people, let me say it a different way. I was talking to a minister guy I know day before yesterday when I was working on my truck, and he was talking about the most dangerous, sector of society. You know, what is it? And I told him my opinion was an 18 to 24-year-old male with no hope, right? Because we're meant to be hunters, and that you get young people without a lot of hope, and a lot of trouble, comes from that. Get some comments real quick. Dana Green says, always happens on weekends, on slow news days. Yep, watch your weekends. I'm watching them same, and it's caused me to look at crypto as a hedge. I have a slide on this here in just a little bit. I might change your mind on this. Let's see. G-Dog says, has Trump said anything that would make the stock market go down? Yeah, he said a lot of things that moved it, I would say, in both ways. The Iran Spectre said J.D. Vance open the Strait of Hormuz unconditionally or we will invade you. So again, they're openly talking about a ground invasion. Iran replied that the strait will not be open until Iran's 11 trillion now. Have you noticed that number has grown a lot? It wasn't always, now it's $11 trillion in frozen assets are released. Conserve Friend says problem depends on if you're listening to the Iranian government or the IRGC as to who's making their decisions. I don't think anybody really knows, right? Donald Trump suggests the United States could be in Iran for nearly 2 decades. Well, this isn't exactly what he said. I love how media spins this. Mm-hmm. But what he actually was talking about is he's like, don't rush me here. We were in, Vietnam for 18 years. We were in World War II for, so many years. This isn't quick. So don't rush me in Iran, was his words. Trump declares that if it was up to him, he would have won Vietnam very quickly. I think that's interesting to me that in the beginning of a statement, he can say, don't push me. We were in Vietnam for 18 years. And in the next sentence go, if it was up to me, I would have ended Vietnam quickly.
Done it sooner.
Seems a little contradictory. But anyway, Trump, and then interestingly enough, one of the, I want to call him a Trump insider, but some of the financial people right now are shorting, right, the peace talks in Iran and have bet, have bet a whole bunch of money that the Iran peace deal will fail. Our negotiations with Iran to cover for war. Russian Security Council warns U.S. negotiations with Iran may be a front for preparing for a ground invasion, says the Washington Post. The U.S. is sending another 10,000 additional troops to the Middle East, including an additional 6,000 aboard the aircraft carrier USS George W. Bush. Carrie Davis says, it'll show it. Feels like we're living in a Monty Python episode. Yeah, I can't make heads or tails of it. I'm going to argue both sides all night long. And when I leave here tonight, I'm not going to know anything more than I knew when I came in. Iran requests emergency meeting with the U.S. The U.S. delegation has already departed for official peace talks in Pakistan. Again, this was going on today as I was building the live. And they're saying, hey, we want peace talks, and head out. And Jared Kushner and, whoever headed off to Pakistan to do this. Insider reports both sides have agreed to sign a final peace deal tomorrow. This is great news for the markets. Except that's not true, because for the first time since World War II, the U.S. government is asking car companies like Ford and General Motors to make weapons of war. So Trump is in talks with General Motors and Ford about the possibility of turning their plants into ammunition factories and weapon factories.
Wow.
Why would we be having conversations with Ford and General Motors about weapons factories and car factories if we were so sure that a peace deal was going to be signed tomorrow? That sounds a little weird. Holy smokes. Treasury Secretary Scott Bressett just froze $344 million in Iranian cryptocurrency linked to the regime officials. Interesting. Just that whole headline sounds interesting. I thought the whole point of crypto is it couldn't be seized. Isn't that the big sell point right, for everybody is, hey, buy crypto because they can't get at it, Well, except we just apparently froze $344 million in Iranian cryptocurrency. That sounds, that's totally contrary to everything that's been said. Iran exposed Trump again. White House today, 2:20 p.m. The Iranians begged and asked for direct talks tomorrow morning in Pakistan. I was telling you about this, and Jared Kushner and others jumped on a plane to head for Pakistan. Exactly 2 minutes later, this is from Iran. This is a quote. They are habitual liars. Meeting with the U.S. in Pakistan for another round of talks are false. We're not doing it. So it's really hard, I think, for anyone to have any level of discernment at all, right? When you have the president coming out and the staff coming out saying, hey, Iran's begging for talks, and then Iran saying, no, we're not. And I don't give Iran any credit. They absolutely can be lying. Pretty hard, right? Nito says Iran now, China later. G-Dog says these peace talks are pretty much just talk. Any peace talk that means anything needs to involve actual decision makers. All smoke. I agree with that. I think it's all bread and circuses, right? It's all theater. It's all for us Americans to keep us scared and to keep us wandering. Get rid of that. CENTCOM confirms in a rare show of force that 3 U.S. aircraft carriers are now operating in the Middle East simultaneously for the first time in decades. The USS Abraham Lincoln, Gerald R. Ford, and George H.W. Bush are all positioned outside to strike. That's more than 200 aircraft and 15,000 soldiers. Iran responds and closes its schools and universities until further notice and announces wide deployment of its ground forces in the region amid escalating tensions. Pakistan, this one kind of surprised me. Pakistan may launch its own ground defense against Iran in the next phase of the West Asian war, sources said, after a secret meeting among top U.S., Israel, Pakistan, Qatar, and Saudi officials. Pakistani army started mobilizing along the border with Iran. So they're saying that Pakistan's building up troops along the Iranian border. I would doubt highly that Pakistan would do anything like that. But I always like the details inside the comment, which is there was a big secret meeting between U.S., Israel, Pakistan, Qatar, and Saudi officials. That, to me, is the story right there. You okay?
You see that? It's a mosquito.
Just a bug. This one blew me away. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but there is a person out there and he's made several predictions. This is one of the predictions that he made, and I just stumbled across this on June 22nd of 2025. Right? So
you found it today?
I stumbled across it today. But so this was their predictions, and this was Anon, an anonymous thing. He said the first prediction was Israel breaks ceasefire and strikes Iran. The second one was Trump responds with B-2 bunker busters on nuclear sites. Number 3 said Iran hits all Gulf oil fields and U.S. bases, blocks Hormuz and Bab el-Mandeb. Oil prices skyrocket, blackouts in Africa and the third world, and U.S. sends 3 aircraft carriers. Check. All that has happened.
Wow.
And in order.
And this was from last year.
Yep, this was in June. But you want to hear what he says comes next?
Do
you?
Do we?
I don't know. Do you? Now, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying this is what he predicted. At least 2 of those aircraft carriers are sunk by Iran, Russia, and China. U.S. tries amphibious invasion. First fails with massive casualties. Second attempt succeeds. Oil field seized and advance halts. U.S. civil war begins. Anti-war bloc takes D.C. with military support. U.S. splits in 2 and retreats from the Middle East. Turkey betrays NATO, joins Russia, Iran, China alliance, and attacks Israel. China invades Taiwan and Guam. North Korea invades South. Japan fails to stop it. India possibly flips side. Russia invades Poland and the Baltics, links to Kaliningrad. Finland and NATO invade Russia, take St. Petersburg. Europe collapses into riots, famine, and civil wars. Latin America allies with China and Russia. U.S. invaded from the south. Advance stops at Colorado. 50 to 150 tactical nukes used high in atmosphere. SARS bomb and 2 strategic nukes used in Europe. Israel deployed, Pakistan wiped with it. Israeli deployed, Palestinians wiped with it. Air travel ends, crime and chaos everywhere, 3 weeks of nuclear events, followed by a fake alien invasion. Isn't that crazy? I'm not suggesting any of this is true. I'm just telling you the first ones on the list, I put those blue arrows in there. I just found the document.
4, 5.
Yeah. Gratitude to Grace says, before social media, all the talks, no phones, plans, and schemes were done in secret. Putting out constant stories from all sides is the best way to keep your cards hidden. Terminator hopes Trump takes something. We don't know what, but something. I found this document interesting. In a raw, earth-shaking moment that exposes the hypocrisy of the great power politics, the reporter hit President Trump with a sharp question. Are you angry at China for sending support to Iran? And again, guys, it isn't what's in the statement about what they're trying to say. It's the little details, I think, in the comments that are so interesting to me. Trump answered with a calm strength of a mountain and the raw power of truth. He said, no, we do the same thing with other countries, don't we? It's one of those things. This is not just an answer. This is one of the most honest statements ever made about geopolitics. So basically, to summarize, they were asking him, was he pissed off that China supports Iran, gives them weapons? And he's like, no, we do it. We do it to our enemies, all the time. Every superpower arms its allies and proxies. Everyone pretending otherwise is living in a grand illusion. Trump said it without diplomacy, without hypocrisy, and without fear. Truth is an age of lies and an unstoppable force. I think that's a super powerful statement. Let's see here. G-Dog says lots of that could still happen over the next 1 to 3 years. Not the 50 to 150 nukes or Israel destroyed, air travel, alien invasion. Okay, some of the initial items. Yeah, well, it's actually, if I go back, G-Dog, I purposely stopped reading. But if you, just because you said that, I'm going to go back and just finish it. I stopped at fake alien invasion. The last 6 points were MJ-12 releases synthetic alien soldiers, PLFs. PLF hunt survivor. FEMA camps classify people as useful and undesirable. By 2027, 5 billion people are dead. Fake aliens defeated. One world government under MJ-12 and the UN. Dome of the Rock is destroyed. Script complete. Well, I just stopped reading it. But for you, there we go, right? Look at that. We have Live with Mike and Jen in the house. We talked a lot about you guys tonight.
Just in time.
Just in time, yep. Let me see. Silver Lining says, how's the hubby? I think she's talking to Jen, and I think he's doing good. Terminator said, sorry, I hope Trump takes over Canada. Dana Green says he's right. And a new crisis is coming. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said, we've had all kinds of crises. We have never really had a successful cyber attack on a large financial institution. He just revealed in an upcoming crisis. Klaus Schwab, prepare for a cyber pandemic that makes COVID look like small disturbances by halting our power supply, transportation, and hospital. Which, guys, these kinds of things are exactly why we do for ourselves. Sam Altman said, totally possible. There could be a world-shaking cyber attack this year that would get people's attention. In the next year, we will see significant threats. We have to migrate from cyber. The Great Reset cabal is forecasting their plans live. Let's see here. Silver Lining says that explains how they will reduce the population. Well, and the other side of that, Silver Lining, I think is interesting, is what would get the Americans to agree to the loss of their freedoms? Right? What would it would have to be something, an alien invasion, big, right? I mean, it's going to have to be something gigantic. World War III, right?
Right. Rain has turned into like big, instead of saying, oh, we're getting rain, it's like, oh, we're getting thunderstorms. And then it's like, now we're getting severe thunderstorms. So I got to get that energy raised up so that they can harvest it.
Yeah, Brett Boyd says, why do we still fund the UN? You know what's so interesting about that? There's so much talk lately in the news about us leaving the United Nations and, and all of this stuff. But yet what's crazy is this week, America signed a critical minerals deal with Europe. It's not in my slide deck tonight, but so we're negotiating and making deals with Europe all the time. And yet on the media side, we're talking about how we're leaving because they don't pay their fair share. And the truth is, I don't think any of us know the truth. G-Dog says, Sam says a lot of stuff to scare people into giving his company more money. I don't trust him. I don't trust any of them, Jen just wanted everyone to know that she's ornery. I agree 100% that she's ornery.
I think that was her husband.
Oh,
How's your husband?
no, he's not.
Ornery?
He's not ornery at all. He's mellow, kind, loving, compassionate, giving, caring, soft, until he has to be strong. Nito says no electricity or food. That's why we do it for ourselves. I can live with no hydro. It's funny how Canadians talk. We call that water down here.
Is that what she meant?
Yeah. Well, hydro is cut off all government funds and the people will change. Yeah, but they won't cut it off is the problem. No, Russia issues stark warning to Europe. Any country hosting Emmanuel Macron's nuclear-capable aircraft could become a military target, Moscow says. Russia warns that it will revise its strike list if French nuclear deployments expand across NATO nations. Russia signals possible move on Estonia. NATO flashpoint looms. Reports indicate Vladimir Putin has received authorization to deploy Russian troops abroad under the justification of protecting Russian citizens. Russia is set to halt the transit of Kazakhstan's oil supplies to Germany through the pipeline. Even though Germany stopped buying Russian oil, they still need Russian pipelines to obtain oil from Kazakhstan. On May 1st, the oil stops. The refinery receiving that oil supplies 90% of the petrol, kerosene, and heating fuel for Britain, its airport, and the surrounding region. The only alternative route is through Poland, and Poland is using that capacity for its own refineries. With the Persian Gulf blockade, Germany and other parts of Europe are facing an energy crisis. Russia is putting the squeeze on Europe while supplies are tight. Nothing to see here. Reports now have emerged alleging that NATO powers France, Germany, and Britain have all begun to share intelligence with Iran regarding the movements of U.S. forces in the Middle East in exchanges for no-charge passages through the Straits of Hormuz. If true, NATO is now actively assisting the enemies of the United States military rather than supporting their ally and the largest financial backer. Could you imagine if that's true? If our allies are supplying intelligence to our enemies? NATO, see here, if Europe, and this is, I totally went blank. What is it? Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio said if Europe won't let us use their bases we pay for and man for their defense, we should close them down and bring our troops home. I agree 100%. If Russia attacks, then we can decide later if we feel like helping. 100% agreed. Oh, Terminator says hydro here is how we say electricity.
Oh.
Why is it hydroelectricity? Hydro means water. That's what it, right? We have taken steps to not be dependent and do as much as we can for ourselves, but too many people are blind and not ready should this all come to pass. Boy, do I agree with that. Before Spain banned U.S. aircraft from using its airspace for the Iranian war operations, now U.S. tankers are flying through it anyway. This is crazy, too. So Spain says you can't use our airspace, and America says, watch me. What are you going to do about it? And they do it anyway. And Dan Redding says hydroelectric plants, but hydroelectric plants uses water, right? Some form of water to, I would think that that's true, but got it. Let's see here. If Netanyahu is also making now Turkey out to be an enemy, and if you guys know this or not, but Turkey is actually a NATO ally. And so there's a lot of stuff with Turkey calling Iran, Satan, and then Israel calling Israel Satan, and then Israel calling Turkey Satan. So that could absolutely explode into something none of us want to see. The European powerhouse, meanwhile, in Germany, this is insane. The European powerhouse wants to build an army of 460,000 troops. Now that America is showing its willingness to kind of back off of NATO and back out of Europe, Europe is scrambling. So Germany has a plan to create 460,000 new troops. While conscription measures in Germany are already there, generals say listen to this, German generals say large numbers of Muslims will need to be recruited to fulfill this number. But they also have concerns about arming the same Muslims in case they defect. This is truly insane. Spain is now breaking out into chaos as they legalize another 800,000 migrants. Local infrastructure is starting to be overwhelmed. Voters must wake up and remove the leadership destroying their civilization. Listen to Zach as he explains what's happening with the Canadian government all of a sudden importing thousands of migrants to join their army. So, guys, we have people. I mean, we have all of these Western nations, what you call a Western nation, building Muslim armies. Absolutely
That
crazy.
doesn't sound smart.
Yeah. So apparently in Canada, they're importing thousands of migrants to join their army, fast tracking the visa process. If you don't think your own country is doing this already, then you're not paying attention. Man, that's where we at here. Oh, okay. There you go. Dan Redding says, yes, electricity created by turbines and dams. Yeah. Turkey has good weapons. They have great weapons. Israel's not that dumb. I don't know. Hydro One is the rural power company, so I just call it Hydro. Got it. England has plenty of oil in the North Sea, but they will no longer get it. It's all about climate change. I call it suicide. Terminator says, I'm just Canadian. We love you, Terminator. Should the U.S. be responsible for fighting wars on behalf of countries which ordinary people can't safely walk at night? So these are the places we have all these military bases. And according to the European Union, this is their rankings on whether or not it's safe to go outside at night. Guys, this has changed a lot.
That's crazy.
Europe, you go back 10 years, every one of those countries would have been green. In 10 years, all of these countries, and the big ones, Great Britain, right? And then France, Italy, Greece, right? Are not safe to go outside after dark. Right? At what point do the people say, I've had enough?
Right.
I would have thought it would have already been, but apparently that's not the case. Kevin O'Leary says the Trump administration consideration of a $500 million bailout for Spirit Airlines is a very bad idea. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Spirit Airlines is getting ready to get liquidated. And Trump is talking about they're too big to fail and talking about giving Spirit Airlines $500 million of your hard-earned money so that it can make up for the bad decisions that it's made in business. As you're concerned about insider trading on the predictions of the market, Trump says, and I quote, the world is a casino. It is what it is. So how is this going to give anybody any kind of faith at all in the markets? In anything when the president of the United States says, I quote, the world is a casino. The problem is they're the house. And you and I are the person who's pulling the arm of the slot machine.
Yep.
Some of us are playing the penny slots. Some of us are playing the quarter slots. Some of us are playing the dollar slots. But either way, they're the house, right? And just so you guys know, 2 of Trump's kids bought a drone company a couple weeks ago and have made several $100 million. What a great deal. Perfect timing. They just must be smarter than the rest of us, right? Let's see here. Where are we at here? Oh my goodness, look at there's Dr. Happy Gas. I need a picture of Mo and a picture of Tate. I'm doing a caricature of everybody in the community, and I found yours easy, but I couldn't find theirs. But anyway, great to see you, Dr. Happy Gas. Said I've traveled to Europe dozens of times in the last 30 years. It was always safe. This totally breaks my heart. I have no desire to travel there right now. I don't either. On my bucket list, I always wanted to do the Castle Cruise up the Rhine River. And I've been on some really cool cruises in my life, I always wanted to do it, but I wouldn't leave now either. Zero. G-Dog says Trump investment of Intel in August 2025, $20 a share, 10% of the company is looking good with Intel at $82.50 today. Hey, thank you. She send me the pictures. Thank you very much. I'm going to build a poster. So B seen it today when I was working on it.
Yeah, it's cute.
I'm going to build a big caricature poster that has everybody in the community on it. And it'll be cool. Anyway, Americans are saying we need to normalize just leaving if the prices are too high. Stop paying and just say no and leave. This woman went to KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. She wanted chicken tenders, no sides, no drink, just 6 chicken tenders. The price, $20. She said no and left. I've added the price into the video for each count. Prices in America are out of control. Next story, American grabbed a simple meal at Park MGM in Las Vegas, a bowl of pasta and a water. Bill, $52.95.
MGM. Yeah. She's at a casino.
That's a lot, babe.
That's
okay.
Pretty
then
typical.
B tried to buy me chocolate sauce.
Yeah.
Look at that, $8.76 for chocolate sauce here in Kansas.
And this isn't even the typical stuff I buy. That stuff was even more. I usually get the
all natural,
simple ingredient one. Yeah.
As you can tell from the picture, I was very upset.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
You look upset.
Did you like that picture?
Yeah.
I put
a cartoon picture.
I just put a picture of me in there and said, "Can you make me upset and crying?"
And you put your picture in there?
And that's what it spit out. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's a great picture. What do you think?
I think it looks like you.
Look like me crying?
Oh, I mean, it looks like you.
Even at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yep. Even at Walmart. Well, guys, in the movie Bruce Almighty, he was driving down the road and he's rubbing his prayer beads and he's saying, "Give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign," and then ignores all the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for that, conserve friend said, and Hershey's no longer contains chocolate. Yep. All right. Let's get to more good news. This woman that lives in Boston, Massachusetts, she has a 6-month-old child and needs childcare, but she heard it was expensive. She films herself walking into KinderCare and she got a quote. 2 days a week, $2,450 a month. 3 days a week, $3,115 a month, plus a $200 initiation fee yearly. That is crazy. This is a true problem in the United States. This is really a legitimate problem that needs to be addressed because people can't afford their child care. Foreigners and illegals get this 100% for free, paid by the taxpayer. Well, what's actually crazy is that lady's probably a taxpayer, so she's probably already paying for the illegals to get child care, but now can't afford her own child care. This woman went to an ER for pain and was there for just 1 hour. No doctor, just a PA, no test, no blood work, nothing. They sat her in a chair in a room that looked like a storage closet, and they told her not to sit on the bed, just the chair. They gave her one single shot for the pain that didn't even help. She says she was technically discharged before they did her vitals, blood pressure, temperature, etc. The total bill, $2,034.18 for a high urgency severity level 4 visit. Americans believe airline greed is out of control. This woman tried to book a flight and there wasn't a single option that included luggage. You had to pay extra. Mm-hmm. Who is traveling without luggage these days? This is insane to have to pay to bring luggage on a plane when you are traveling somewhere else. Come on. I looked into this and no major airline commonly used includes checked bags anymore with basic tickets. Southwest Airlines, once famous for its 2 free checked bags on all fares, it charged in May of 2025 after pressure from a private equity firm. JetBlue does not include a free checked bag anymore with their cheapest tickets. American, Delta, United, and Alaska Basic Economy or equivalent cheapest fares do now no longer include free checked bags. American proves Amazon is robbing you. The more you look at a price of an item, the more the price increases, just like airline tickets were caught doing. Okay. Now, did you know that airlines were busted doing this?
No.
Okay, so you would log in and check a price?
Yeah.
Then when you would log in and check again, it had your IP address?
Yeah.
And it would just give you a little more to give you the feeling like it's going to continue to go up. You better get it booked. Right? So they've caught the Wall Street Apes, which is a place I visit a lot, says they've caught Amazon now doing the same thing. The more you look at a price of an item, the more the price increases, just like airline tickets were caught doing. She has 2 items she was looking at last night. She left the screen open. In the morning, she clicks refresh and the price updates. Now the same item costs 28% more. There were no ending sales to account for the change. This is just a system jacking up the prices because you showed interest. From $45.98 to $58.98. This is exactly what airlines were caught doing. Let's see here. Instigator says, what percentage of income goes to food in the U.S. as compared to other countries now or over time? We are still among the cheapest in the world by that metric. I'll look that up. I don't know that number. What percentage goes to food? Brett Boyd says AI is amazing. Yeah, it's scary too.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever use it for is to make images. Make avatars or make a thumbnail or something like that. I don't really. Once in a while, I use it to write a document or to start me out writing a document. Like I'll tell it, give me a typical reseller agreement, and then I'll go through it and edit it. But Life with Mike and Jen says, as a frequent flyer, you have to be a card holder to have so many flights to get free check baggage. No more free anything.
Mm-hmm.
G-Dog says, I wonder if AI will ever increase prices automatically based on demand. I bet it will. Dr. Happy Gas says, I heard local Walmarts have gone to electronic pricing. Well, I did on one of my lives 6 or 8 months ago. I don't remember, a while ago. We talked about how Walmart said they were going to use electronic pricing, which means they'll change it.
So all of at our Walmart, the prices are all digital.
Are they?
And I was standing in an aisle and I was looking at what I needed, or I was looking at what I wanted to get. And there was a gentleman over here. I didn't know who he was or what he was doing, but all of a sudden in front of him, the price started flashing. And I go, what did you just do? And he goes, oh, I'm shopping for somebody. And I said, well, how did you get the price to just flash? There's a light at the so where the price is on the shelf, just next to it, there's a little light, and that starts to flash. So he says, well, on my app, and he turned and he showed me his phone. He says, if I can't find the item, I'll click find, and it will shine on the shelf.
Really?
So as he's shopping for people's items, if he can't find this mayonnaise, he pushes find item, and on the shelf, it'll start blinking, and he can go and find that mayonnaise and put it in the cart because that's the one that the person bought.
Crazy.
I was like, wow. And it's doing that on your phone. And he goes, I'm using the
Walmart app.
No, he wasn't on the Walmart app. He said that you have to use this other app because this other app, he makes more money. So I'm like, whoa.
Crazy how people can be bribed out of their freedom for a little bit of money.
That's crazy.
There have never been free luggage. It was always included in the ticket price. Yeah, but now they just exclude it so they can charge more. Dr. Happy Guest said, I follow Marjorie Wildcraft, and she says that she gets different pricing on Amazon depending upon which email she uses. G-Dog says, just like Uber and Lyft do surge pricing, it only makes sense for digital prices to adjust based on supply and demand. Yeah, based on supply and demand makes some sense, but based upon who's buying it, right? Dr. Happy Guest says, find your local farmers and ranchers. Could not agree more. Create our own system, right? Let's see here. It's official. New York is cooked. The socialists are bleeding their own residents dry. Democrats are now pushing a $260 billion proposal in New York directed at 20 million people. Florida's $200 million proposal in New York at 20 million people. Florida's proposed budget is $117 billion with 3 million more people. So what he's basically saying is the new budget for New York is $260 billion. They have 20 million people. Florida's is $117 billion, and they have 23 million people. Yeah, you want to get benefits, apparently go to New York. I'm only living to work, says Matrix Mystery. There's no enjoyment. She says both her and her husband work nonstop, yet there's never enough left over to actually enjoy life. Their paychecks don't create freedom. They only keep the bills paid. America's turned living into mere survival. The U.S. is soon broke. It cannot refinance the Ukraine and Iran war cost, says Professor Michael Hudson. Anybody got any guess what the number one export for the last 5 months for the United States of America has been? This blew me away. I would not have guessed this. What do you think, Ben?
I have no idea.
What do you think we export the most of, value-wise?
No idea.
Anybody in the audience have a guess on what we export the most of? I would have never guessed this. This absolutely blew me away. Gold. Yep. For the last 5 months, U.S. has been the number one exporter of gold. Gold. Absolutely crazy. Not weapons, not software, gold. Gold to the UK, Switzerland, and from here to Hong Kong and China.
Wow.
Yep. Canada already has an exit tax. When you leave Canada, the CRA treats most of your assets you own, stocks, investments, crypto, etc., as if it sold the day you left. So if you close a business down in Canada, they're going to tax you on all of your unrealized capital gains. So your profit in the stock market, et cetera, et cetera.
How would they know what it would be?
Well, because they know what you bought it for, and they know what the value is in, right? It's all digital. This is why digital currency and digital IDs are so dangerous, because it's this kind of stuff that you can get put over on you. Well, China won't take our trash anymore. Speaking of gold, think of the name Yellowstone. Gypsy says New York and California will adopt it. Well, you beat me to the punch. They already are, buddy. Yeah. Could it possibly be countries repatriating their gold? Could be. I have no idea. Could not tell you. Just walked into CVS in DC, and this is insane. Can you guys believe that their paper towels and their toilet paper is behind locks now?
Yeah.
The people are stealing so much that you have to lock up your toilet paper and your paper towels.
Yeah, they're doing that with a lot of stuff.
Toilet paper and paper towels?
Yep.
Man, what does that tell you about the state of the union if people are stealing
toilet
paper towels? A North Carolina school superintendent says he sees nothing wrong with kindergartners reading a book depicting men in BDSM leather outfits making out. That's certainly something a child would see in their community, right? This was a big deal and is causing quite the uproar, but apparently kindergartners should be reading about sex. You know what's funny about that? And I've got this argument with a lot of people. I don't think they should be teaching heterosexual sex to kindergartners.
No.
Let them be kids. But our world just continues to crumble. A mother sits in front of her computer looking at her daughter's surgery estimate. Her 9-year-old daughter needs her tonsils and her adenoid surgery. So what's crazy is a lot of people in our country can't afford health insurance anymore. It's gotten so expensive that a lot of people are just going to out of pocket. Well, here's where the problem is. Something doctors say is routine, necessary, and will help her breathe and sleep better. The surgery only takes 20 minutes, but the estimate, $108,447. She's overwhelmed in shock and can't believe it. She's doing the math in her head and wondering how something meant to help her child could financially bankrupt her family. It's hard not to question a system where a parent has to choose between their child's health and financial survival. Wall Street Ape says water bills are skyrocketing in the city of Clovis, California. In the last 3 years, in the next 3 years, they've already approved increases of 21%, and then 21%, and then 18% in year 3. After that, they wrote in a 3% annual increase forever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is your water price, something you cannot live without.
21% for the first 2 years, 18% for the third.
21% in year 1, an additional 21% in year 2, an additional 18%, right? So that's 42, 52. That's a 60% increase in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. And of course, their income's not going up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely crazy. Parts of Utah is now restricting water for homesteads, even giving citations in some cities. Yes, this is all part of the new agenda. It was interesting. I was thinking about water, and I've always said it was interesting where Bill Gates bought all of his land, because many of the acres that he owns, 40% of the acres he owns sits on top of the Ogallala Aquifer, which is the largest natural water source underground in our country. And I've always wondered if there's going to be a water crisis, but then I started thinking today, maybe that's just so that this is why they want to put all the data centers in the Midwest.
Right.
Because of all of the water supply. Let's see here. Conserve Friend says China pays more for gold and silver. Big boys buy here, sell in China. Yeah, it's sad that people voted for that increase. Yeah, I don't know if they voted for that, G-Dog. I don't know if that, city council or the county commission or whoever just approved it. I doubt the people voted for that. Very, very doubt. Let's see here. The scary part about healthcare costs in many states, they can and will take your children from you for medical neglect if you choose not to do surgery, and many foster children disappear. Yeah, so think that all the way through. Gravity to grace, right?
Right.
I mean,
so you can't pay $108,000.
You ain't got $108,000. Your kid needs tonsils. Mm-hmm. So your only choice, if you want to remain staying together, is bankruptcy. You get the surgery, file bankruptcy, and live to fight another day,
Yikes.
Yep.
That doesn't seem like an option.
Yeah. Dr. Happy Guy says they want to put data centers everywhere. They do. Even down here where there's no water. Tag, that's why I drilled a well even when they told me I couldn't, but they approved the permit. Yeah, I think water, I put energy at the top because you can't move water without it. If it wasn't for that, I'd put water at the top. But water would be my number 2. That's why I keep building ponds, and keep adding water storage. We went from, we first built this house to 750 gallons of rainwater storage. Now we have 13,000. And we just keep chunking at it. I went from one pond on my property that was a foot deep to now I have 4. One of them's 21 feet deep. One of them's 12 feet deep. One of them's about 16 feet deep. And one of them's pretty shallow. But water's a big deal. And if you don't control your own water supply, I mean, what do you think you will do if you're thirsty? To what knee will you bend? Because I'll guarantee you it's a lot, right? Oh, I'm out of time. I am out of time. That's too bad. I had some really cool slides coming up.
Oh, maybe you can use them next week.
Nah, that's by next week. It's old news. Something's replaced it.
Not always.
The thumbnail that I put in for tonight's live, you guys, was a bunch of people kneeling, and this is kind of what I meant. Mm-hmm. What will you do if you're thirsty? If you need water? Because the truth is, you'll do anything.
Anything.
It won't matter.
Your kids need it.
If you're thirsty, you will not have principles. Okay, I mean. I don't know if any of you people have been around starving people, but I've been around starving people, and that type of survival, you just do anything to survive. And you'll lie and cheat and steal, and you'll do whatever it is. And so when we put our dependency on a system, that is proving to be more and more and more untrustworthy every single day, I think we set ourselves up for failure. And so, my parting words as we get out of here, tonight is don't kneel. Put yourself in a position you can fight, because to just say you're going to go fight isn't at all reality. You got to put yourself in a position to fight. And if they can hang everything over your head, if they can say, okay, you can have water if, you can have energy if, okay, you can go to the grocery store, you can have food if, you can have income if, you can have medical care if, as long as you're in a position to where they have the ability to say if, you're in big trouble, right? You're never going to be able to escape it. So, put yourself in a position to where the if no longer matters. That's my parting words. What do you got to say? What did you smile at me like that for?
I like that.
Did you?
Yeah, something came to my mind, but I can't say it out loud.
I love you.
Yeah. I like that.
That's your parting words? I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys. It's 2 hours and 7 minutes. We love you guys. We'll see you guys in a week. Hey, go make a difference this week. Go get a tiny bit freer. Go do something. Go eliminate those ifs the best you can. And I promise you I'm going to do the exact same thing. We'll do it together, okay? All right, guys. We'll see you guys later.
Be out.
Tag out. See you guys.